So, you've spent your whole life working hard, right? Saving up, dreaming of that perfect, comfortable retirement. But what if a few common and kind of sneaky mistakes could put that entire dream in jeopardy? In this explainer, we're going to break down the 3 biggest financial pitfalls that can really mess up an otherwise solid retirement plan. I mean, just think about it for a second. All those years you spent putting money away, planning for this next big chapter, that is a huge deal. But the real question is that plan you've made actually built to handle the real world? You know, we all have this picture of retirement in our heads, don't we? This idea that the second you walk out of the office for the last time, all that financial stress just, poof, disappears. But here's the surprising truth. For a lot of people, that's exactly when a whole new set of financial worries can start. And here's the part that gets a lot of people. The problem often isn't the size of your nest egg. It's not about whether you hit some magic number. Nope. It usually comes down to a few specific and honestly totally avoidable mistakes that can undo decades of hard work. So let's just jump right into the very first one. Okay, mistake number 1. This is the silent one, the one that can really creep up on you, and it's simply underestimating what things are actually going to cost in the future. All right, take a look at this number, $315,000. Just let that sit there for a moment. What do you think that's for? A down payment on a dream vacation home? A lifetime supply of golf balls? Well, believe it or not, according to Fidelity, that's roughly what a 65-year-old couple might need just for healthcare costs. And get this, that's the amount after what Medicare covers. It's a massive figure, and it catches so many people completely off guard, potentially derailing a plan that just didn't account for it. So how does that number get so big? Well, this chart here shows the secret villain. We all hear about general inflation, right? The cost of groceries and gas going up, maybe around 3%. But healthcare? Well, healthcare plays by its own, much scarier rules. Its costs often inflate at 5, even 6% a year. Now, that might not sound like a huge difference, but over a 20 or 30-year retirement, that gap just grows and grows, quietly eating away at your savings. All right, let's move on to the second mistake. And this one is all about us, our behavior. It's a super easy trap to fall into, especially when you're feeling that rush of newfound freedom. It's called the go-go years trap. Now, to really get this trap, we need to talk about this fascinating idea called the retirement spending smile. It completely changes how we should think about budgeting for retirement. The whole theory is that your spending isn't some flat, predictable line. Oh no. It actually changes dramatically over time in 3 very distinct phases. And this timeline lays it out perfectly. First, you hit the go-go years. This is right after you retire, you're healthy, you're full of energy, and you're ready to tackle that bucket list. Spending on travel, hobbies, and fun is at its absolute peak. Then you ease into the slow-go years, where things naturally calm down a bit, and so does the spending. And finally, you have the no-go years. Now, spending on activities might drop, but, and this is key, those healthcare costs we talked about earlier can start to ramp right back up. The trap is going a little too wild in the go-go years and not leaving enough in the tank for the rest of the journey. Okay, this brings us to our third and final mistake. Now, I need you to really lean in for this one. It's a bit more on the technical side, but trust me, understanding this is absolutely critical to making your money last. We're talking about the hidden danger of using rigid, inflexible withdrawal rules. So here's the deal. When you start taking money out of your investments, your average return over 30 years isn't the most important thing. Not even close. The thing that can truly make or break your retirement is the order in which you get those returns. Think of it like this. If you're on a long voyage and get hit by a bunch of huge storms right at the beginning, you're in way more trouble than if those same storms hit near the end. In finance, that's what we call sequence of returns risk. This example shows it so clearly, it's almost scary. We've got 2 retirees, both start with the exact same $500,000 portfolio. Both withdraw the same $30,000 a year, and over 20 years, they get the exact same 6% average return. The only difference is the timing. Retiree 1 gets some good years up front, and their portfolio grows to over $800,000. But retiree 2, they get hit with losses right at the beginning. And because they had to sell their investments when the market was down, they ran completely out of money in just 10 years. Same money, same average return, but a drastically different outcome. That's sequence risk in a nutshell. So you're probably wondering, okay, how do I protect myself from that? The answer is flexibility. Instead of a rigid rule, many experts recommend a bucket strategy. You basically divide your assets into different buckets. Bucket 1 holds 1 to 3 years of your expenses in safe, stable cash. That way, if the market tanks, you don't have to sell anything. You just live off your cash. Bucket 2 is for your medium-term needs, and Bucket 3 is for long-term growth. It's a system that builds in a crucial buffer against that market volatility. So after going through all that, what's the big takeaway here? Well, it's that we need to move beyond just saving up a big pile of money and start thinking about building a truly resilient retirement strategy. So let's recap the 3 big mistakes that can sink a retirement plan. First, underestimating the true costs of things like inflation and healthcare. Second, falling into that go-go years spending trap. And third, using those rigid withdrawal rules that leave you totally exposed to sequence risk.
But you know what? Here's the really good news. You don't need a crystal ball to have a secure retirement. Just being aware of these common pitfalls, that right there is the most powerful first step you can take. It lets you ask the right questions and build a plan that's actually prepared for the road ahead.
And that really leaves us with one final thought. It's not about having a perfect plan, because perfect doesn't exist. It's about having a resilient one. So, take a moment and ask yourself, is my retirement plan built for reality?